The beginning part of this chapter was actually very informative. I actually really enjoyed the flashback. It gave me the amount of background information that I wanted. We found out how Scarlet, met Kairos and how they fell in love. Kairos saved her. She was about to, well, yeah, she was kidnapped by some pirates, and she started being infatuated, and just, that turned into a romance, and eventually, they were together and had a kid, and that kid was, of course, Rebecca. I never made the correlation between Scarlet, like, being the name of a color, red, and then Violet being the sister, and Violet also being the name of a color. I thought that was cool. And most importantly, I think, and this was kind of foreshadowed very heavily in previous chapters, is that Diamante was the one who killed Rebecca's mom. And also, we found how Toy Soldier lost his leg. Initially, I thought that he had just, lost his leg as a toy. Somebody had cut it or somebody had broken it off or something. But it turns out that he sacrificed his leg to save King Riku, because he was the captain of King Riku's army. I also thought it was interesting how, because of the possible disapproval from the population of Dressrosa in regards to Kairos and Scarlet's relationship, Scarlet decides to fake her own death. And it's interesting because it's like, I think that's a psychological phenomenon in which, as a mob, people tend to be more vicious, whereas individually they might be a little bit more forgiving. Before she got shot by Diamante, Scarlet had completely forgotten about the promise of waiting in the flower fields with Rebecca, and that's because he got turned into a toy. So this kind of speaks to the whole, like, Usopp regression sort of deal, in terms of him forgetting about Robin and anything to do with Robin, kind of like Enies Lobby. But at the same time, this also opens up like a huge sort of like, can of worms, in terms of like, well, if you forget the promises that you make to the person, what else do you really forget? How big is that memory loss, Because if you forget one person in your life, that doesn't just change you, it changes other people, and it changes the events that came from you knowing that other person. So it's really a complicated thing. I really did think that this needed to be treated very carefully, this whole time, memory swipe deal. But now it doesn't even matter. And it's not like, maybe we'll get an explanation, but it doesn't look like it, because by the end of this chapter, Sugar is knocked out. So it's kind of disappointing in a way that we don't get the full scope of the consequences of Sugar's ability in terms of like memory loss. And we might in the future, but I don't think so. But yeah, so I want a little bit more explanation in terms of that. However, the flashback ends this chapter, which was really surprising to me. I thought the entire chapter was going to be a flashback. Thankfully, it wasn't, even though I did enjoy the part of, knowing more about Toy Soldier and how he came to be. But we go to the Coliseum, and we find out that Burgess is just destroying it, like just elbowing the shit out of it. And Sabo's like, I like this. I kind of want to know now how, like, revolutionaries are trained, especially revolutionaries that are, on the same rank as Sabo. That must be some intense training. Anyway, Rebecca is crying in the finale of the tournament, which I guess it's okay. It's understandable why she's crying. She just found out Diamante was the one who shot her mother. And she was just, her mom left her alone to try and get her something to eat because she was hungry. I kind of like how Bartolomeo's like using his barrier. He's like, oh, this barrier isn't designed to block like verbal abuse or, emotional damage that comes from something that's verbal. And I think that's kind of like Oda's way of saying that no matter how big or strong or, impenetrable a barrier may seem, people can still get through it, just in a different way. I kind of wonder if Doflamingo still has that sword that he used, or he was going to use, to chop King Riku's head off, because I think it's one of those swords that, it might be one of those swords that's special, like the one that Zoro has and then the one that Mihawk has. The ones that Tashigi is always fangasming about, because it was black and it looked kind of, odd. So I wonder if he's going to be using that in his fight against Luffy. It might be kind of cool if he can manipulate the sword. Now on to the ending. Frankie and Usopp have been beaten to a pulp. The only difference is Frankie is apparently still conscious because he's thinking about Usopp. The Tontadas are crying. Okay, and then we see, like, Cavendish as a toy saying that if he gets turned back into a human, he'll stop chasing Luffy. And then This is what I love. The giant, which is, the race that Usopp admires. He says that if he is turned back, he'll be his servant. And I'm sure he means Usopp because Luffy and, none of the other Straw Hats are there. Oda overhyping the shit out of this one moment, okay? And the way that Sugar is taken out is just so ridiculous. So cartoony, so unexpected, so weird that I'm like, what the fuck? He takes the Tabasco pill, the Tabasco candy, and just puts it in his mouth. And was I the only one thinking, wait, if she is touching his mouth, if she's actually putting it in there, doesn't that constitute touching him? Therefore, shouldn't Usopp be turned into a toy? I mean, whatever. Maybe she can control it and it's only when she wants to. Whatever. His reaction is just, it's insane. Like, not only do his eyes pop out from his sockets, but they actually twirl. And because he's unconscious, you don't even see the pupil there. And apparently, that is some wacky, crazy enough shit that Sugar can't take it. So she screams, foams at the mouth, which, God, I thought for a second that maybe there was some Haki in that scene that I wanted so bad for that to happen. Even now, even though I'm 99% sure that this is a gag, that Sugar got knocked out on a gag, on a comedy gag, it wasn't funny to me. It might have been funny to you. I don't know. I still hold to that hope that maybe there was some Haki to it. That's the only thing that could make me appreciate this moment for more than just, oh, we've been building this moment up for a fucking funny moment. Because Sugar is foaming at the mouth. That is the one panel that is like just saving this entire ending for me. I'm like, please let it be some type of epic shit as opposed to just him having like a wacky ass motherfucking face. The Tontaras are gonna obviously think it's Haki. That's a given. But so much buildup for Usopp's character, and I kind of felt like I was misled, to be honest. If it was just for comedy purposes, then I do feel like I've been misled. All I hope in the end is that Oda eventually does something that for Usopp's character that something good comes out of this for Usopp's character. And people say, well, it's because Usopp is supposed to be the character that you relate to. He's supposed to be on the same level of as the reader so that you can relate to his weakness. Do you guys relate to this? In all honesty, do you guys relate to this sort of stuff? Because I don't. As a reader, I don't. But regardless, the chapter was good. Had good information, really nice progression, and reveals that for the Diamante reveal was kind of obvious, but it was still good. And we left and were in different locations all in one chapter, and I thought that was really cool, especially because I thought it was just going to be a flashback. Please tell me your opinions in the comment section. Like the video if you did. Hit subscribe if you haven't. Bye.